That person is seriously Christian. Have you seen the big cross they're wearing? That person is a serious Christian. Have you heard them talk about being faithful? That person is a real serious Christian. Have you heard their beautiful prayers? Oh. One of my favorite comedians passed away too young, Tim Wilson. He was a Southern comedian, always inappropriate, and had some of my favorite stand-up I've ever heard. He said, sometimes a guy comes to your house to work on something. He will screw you over on the service and then screw you over on the price, but you got to forgive him because he's got that little fish on his truck. It seems that some do not necessarily believe a person is faithful because they look Christian. Can you believe it? Isaiah had similar issues. People were fasting, but not feeding the poor. They were dressing the part, but not clothing the needy. They were going through the motions, but failing to put faith into action. It seems they did draw attention, though. They liked to put on a show. They were faithful in public. People noticed. Isaiah noticed. God noticed. And it seems God wasn't real thrilled with the whole process. The funny thing is, it sounds like a lot of the people are complaining about it, though. In verse 3, the people say, God, why do we fast, but you don't see us? Why humble ourselves if you're not going to notice? And God answers, look, you serve your own interests on your fast day while oppressing all your workers. This one verse in verse 3 really sums up the entire passage of Isaiah and much of the message of the prophets in Scripture in general. The people are complaining, and God comes back with them at, what are you talking about? Don't you see the disconnect? Don't you see the hypocrisy in your words and deeds? So if that was the concern in Isaiah's time, and we still know that playing the part of Christian happens, what does it mean for us? Well, maybe to be careful, that authenticity matters. Our sincerity matters. We can't mistake marketing for meaning. We can't confuse promotion with living a faith in action. We can't let reputation become our purpose. We can't let the reputation of our church be our purpose, even if that reputation is one of love and inclusivity. If we want to be known for being loving and inclusive, and we get pride in that, and that pride becomes the purpose, then we've forgotten that our job is just simply to be loving and inclusive. We can't miss the meaning for our marketing. I've seen lots of Christian marketing campaigns over the years. I was a child of the 90s when apparently t-shirt people discovered Christianity. You could buy all kinds of Christian t-shirts all of a sudden. There were a few companies that specialized in it, and all of a sudden you saw people in t-shirts that said, no pain, no gain, as you walked around the gym. You saw aliens in a strange land with Dayglow alien faces on them. All kinds of cool marketing crossovers. And of course, one of the most successful, at least financially, was WWJD. What would Jesus do? An acronym put on bracelets, and then shirts, and then books written about it, and a fortune made off of 4 letters. More recently, we see #blessed. Oh, isn't it sweet? It says so on my hat, on my silver jewelry, and even on my protein powder for my shake. Yeah, you can't make this up. The concept behind both are good. What would Jesus do was an invitation to think about our decisions, an invitation to look at the teachings of Jesus and see how they might affect our lives today, an invitation to dig deeper and self-evaluate as individuals and as church. The WWJD became, what do I think Jesus would do? No study, no reflection, no depth. It just became a slogan that I often used to judge you, or you used to judge me, because this is what I think Jesus would do. Because I think so, it must be. We lost the sense of reflection, the humility, and the meaning. Hashtag blessed was an invitation to name blessings, to give thanks to God. It was an online social media movement to name when good things happened and try to give God credit. An invitation to see the good in your day, to name God at work in the midst of the struggle. But hashtag blessed has become a brag, a personal proclamation, a prosperity gospel message, usually in really blinged out, bedazzled t-shirts, many of which, as I checked, are imported. Can you hear Isaiah now? You bedazzle your hashtag blessed, but children in Malaysia make the shirt that carries it. What is the fast that I honor? Our blessing is not found in the brag. It's not even found in our attendance. It is found in the struggle and in the joy of living. Our blessing is not in the bumper sticker, and it's not found in the confidence of our righteousness, but it's found in living humbly and living vulnerably in community. It's when we open our lives up to each other that we discover the blessings of God have been with us all along. Self-righteousness is not a new challenge to the faith. Isaiah makes it very clear, and if you skip back a few pages, you'll see it throughout Scripture. But self-righteous might be the biggest challenge, the biggest danger to the modern American church. Privilege, stability. The gospel rarely grows in the midst of these. Self-righteousness is not a new challenge, but it might be the biggest danger even to our church today. Pride in how far we have come. Contentment in what we've achieved. Self-righteousness is not a new challenge, but it might be the biggest danger that we all face, even personally. Letting our hurt become justification. Letting our struggle justify our own biases. The self-righteousness that Isaiah warned about is nothing new to us. We see it all around us. Sometimes it is the self-righteousness of the church that has led people to leave, to give up on God, to walk away with a sense of spiritual abuse, knowing God as their abuser. In many ways, self-righteousness, this sense that my holier-than-thou status protects me from faults, is what has allowed abuse to continue in our homes, in our lives. It's what's kept people from claiming their own goodness, their own beauty, and from seeing it in the lives of others as well. Self-righteousness is not a new challenge, which means we have a lot of direction in how to avoid this danger. God tells people through Isaiah, don't worry about looking faithful. Just look out for other people. Faithfulness will find you. Don't worry about playing the part. Just live it out and do your part to help others. And you will find God among you. The challenge comes to each of us individually, calling us to open our eyes to the needs of people who need God's blessing, not to claim it for ourselves. Calling us to open our minds to the way Jesus lived, the way he related to everyone, the way he served everyone, those who affirmed him, those who challenged him. Jesus served them all. The challenge comes to us as church, calling us to work for justice and not be content. Not be content. I think that is our biggest challenge, to ask what is next, to continually be asking ourselves, what can we do next? Not just celebrate our past, not just celebrate our heritage, but celebrate the unknown mystery that God will keep leading us into, to call us to step back in prayer, in reflection, and imagine what new voice will enter this community and shape our lives. What old voices will speak in new ways and challenge us and surprise us? How will God, who has been with us from generation to generation, do a new thing in us? How will we be a part of it? And how will God's people find justice from the work we engage? This is the fast that God desires. May we find our blessing in the hard work